What are we doing tonight?
Life without Cabernet.
Life without Cabernet.
Life is a
Ego
Cabernet,
Jews.
my friend.
Life is an apricot.
Discussing Cabernet. Is it cool again? Was it ever cool? Will it be cool? TK's just ruined that fucking thing. This episode we talk about Cabernet and is it coming back? Did it ever go anywhere? It's bloody delicious, particularly this little guy. We also talk about ecotourism. What are the opportunities out there? What's going on? What would you think about if you had to open somewhere? Hello, Tim.
Pete.
How are you?
Oh, fantastic.
I don't think I've called you Tony in about 10 years.
I know.
That was weird. I feel a bit dirty about that.
Nearly looked over my shoulder.
Let's just do that again. Yeah. Hey, TK.
Peace.
How are you? Awkward?
No, good.
Yeah, I'm great.
Always better when there's wine glass
I'm
getting
gonna
passed
be better
around.
in just a second. Yeah, exactly right. I
What's
did
happening in your world, mate?
Yeah, a little bit. Tasting some wine. Tasting some good wine, actually. I had a couple of cool things today at lunch. It was a wine lunch that, the wines were looking really good.
That's good.
So new winemaker, well, he's been there for 3 years now, so you can start to see the impact
Oh, yeah.
of the wines. And, some long-term plans that are really, I'll talk about it's Voyager Estate, Margaret River. Tim Shand, great winemaker, was in the Yarra Valley for ages and making great wine, but he's taken over Voyager and they're really taking a really bold direction with something. So, which is kind of why I've chosen this wine to look at tonight. So they traditionally Voyager, Semillon, Sauvignon, Chenin Blanc, Chardonnay, Cabernet, Shiraz is kind of their wheelhouse. And so there's a lot of varieties there and a lot of different styles you can do. And they were, pretty early on in the Margaret River things, so sort of mid-70s, late 70s.
Yep.
So they've been there, they know what the vineyard does, and they've made the decision to basically change the direction from the ground up. So they're actually stopping making Sauvignon, Semillon, and Shiraz.
Voyager Estate has.
Just they're going to. This is the plan.
Because it's been an iconic vineyard, Australian vineyard for
But
ever.
but
and their restaurants are cracking too.
Incredible. Incredible grounds too. But they see the future for them in premium Chardonnay, Cabernet, and Chenin.
Is that right?
That's where they see it. So they're like, why would we not just push everything towards that? So that's what they're doing. So they're ripping out vines.
Oh.
So they can just concentrate on these things. And I love that. I love that idea of just focus, knowing exactly who you are and just leaning into that and go, this is who we are. This is what we want to be. This is what we want to be famous for, as you say. And it's like, respect.
Good on them.
And the first wines that I saw today, so I looked at the 23 Cabernet and Chardonnay. For that matter, Chardonnay was delicious. Still Margaret River, but just a little bit more refined. So that clone of Chardonnay there, the Gingin clone, is quite powerful, muscular anyway. But looking really good. But the wine that excited me was the Cabernets. So predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and then a little bit of Malbec Franc and Petit Verdot. So the 5 Bordelais varieties. But this one was so pretty and lifted. It was ripe. Often with Margaret River, you can get this real sort of green herbal edge to it. It didn't have anything more than it should have. It was completely in balance. But the thing that I really loved about it was balanced with these really beautiful, pretty aromatics were these really fine-grained tannins that you generally don't get in young Cabernet. They tend to be a little bit more rough, a little bit more grabby, and they weren't. They were ripe.
Handbraking.
Yeah, absolutely. Right at the back of the palate, like, remember you're drinking red wine. And young Cabernet is often described as a donut wine. So on your palate, you sort of hit the front, the sides, and the back, and leaves the hole in the middle. But blending in Merlot fills the
Doubles
hole.
that.
So there's a significant amount of Merlot in that wine. And anyway. So it got me thinking about Cabernet. And there's a lot of discussions at lunch about Cabernet because people often talk about Cabernet going, oh, you can't sell Cabernet. No one drinks Cabernet. Cabernet drinkers are dying. Coonawarra is a dead region. And it's just like, what are you talking about? No, not true. I mean, I can understand what some young drinkers might be thinking because they haven't seen the great Coonawarra wines in particular, or great Cabernet wines, because tends to be people will focus on the shiny things.
Yeah, right.
And Australian Cabernet is not a shiny thing in that regard. It is in another regard, if you think about it in terms of quality and the value for money that you see in Cabernet from this country is phenomenal compared to the rest of the world. And Coonawarra has a really distinct spot in the Australian wine history and future, I think. But if no one's putting the wines on because they're not exciting, or there's gatekeepers that are controlling lists in wine bars and in restaurants. If they don't get to see this stuff, they just won't put it on, and then it will slowly peter out. I hate using my name in a negative way, but that's just what's going to happen. So it's really good when you see these, Cabernet styles, and particularly from Coonawarra for me, that are delicious, and they're always going to be medium weight, savoury red wines, luncheon claret. That's the style that variety does very well. And historically, we used to do very well, but then we dialed everything up. It's like, oh no, we need more. We need to extract. We need more alcohol. We need more tannin. And it's like, no, we don't. We need less of everything.
Don't work it too hard.
Exactly. So it's like that difference between vineyard versus artifacts, like all of the choices that the winemaker has or the viticulturalist has in the process of growing the grapes and making the wine. But we've just got to show people these things more, and they'll fall in love with it. Simple as that. So, hence why we've chosen this wine tonight. So this is the Penley Estate. This is their Tolmer Cabernet Sauvignon. This is actually 2021. I think 22 is the current release. But this wine's made by two wonderful human beings.
Look at the colour of that.
Yeah. So Kate Goodman and Lauren Hansen make this wine, and the pair of them together are just quite a force. And I have always had a bit of a soft spot for Penley. I used to sell at wholesale, probably, anyway, 20 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And so kind of fell in love with the brand then, and then it kind of, I didn't really see it, didn't really do much with it. It wasn't really, I don't know, just never really sort of crossed my path again. And then coming back into market a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, those wines are pretty fun. And at that point in time was when Kate got involved, and when a little bit later Lauren got involved, and they've really re-energized this brand to make it a little bit more modern potentially. And you can see by this, this label, which is just cool as shit, really. Cool. At the end of the day, it's like, I'll hold that up. There it is, very pretty. And I think when a classic brand does something as dramatic as this, people should probably pay attention. There's a reason.
Yep.
And for me, it's that stylistic thing. So it sort of brings it into this idea. It's a little bit more fresh, a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to give you that one, Corey, because that's probably got more in it. But it's still Cabernet, and it's still Coonawarra. So you still, again, there's this mintiness that comes through in Coonawarra, or often we talk about maybe bay leaf as well. That can often then lead into like olive tapenade or more of those savoury kind of flavours. But if you pick up a glass of Coonawarra Cabernet, you don't have a little bit of that minty, mint slice, eucalypt.
Nearly feel ripped off.
Yeah, it's like, well, why? What's wrong with it? Because either it means it's probably been picked under or overripe. So it's nice to see it. What are your thoughts?
I think it's much prettier than what I thought it was going to be. Because I'm not a Cabernet drinker at all. And
it's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, because often, again, Cabernet, because it has structure.
I was going to say, it's everything that Cabernet should be, but it's not. Doesn't have that really offensive green tannin that I really despise.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Current vintage Cabernet.
The thing with Cabernet is that you got to be super careful with the picking window, because it can just get, if you miss it, you're done. You're never going to get it back. And if you're too green, like if you're picking it underripe, then you're going to know about it real quick. It gets that real methoxypyrazine is the chemical component that basically it smells like green capsicum.
Right.
And it's like, it's unpleasant. But in small doses, like that compound, that chemical compound is in this variety, as it is in Sauvignon Blanc. But it's always going to be there in some way, shape or form. But if it dominates, then we've got an issue. Like anything else, like acid, like tannin, like anything else. We want balance in wine, really. That's what it comes down to.
Get the bay leaf in that.
Yeah. It's a thing. Bay leaf is something that we talk about often in Eden Valley. And particularly a certain producer called Henschke. They have a thing, and there's generally a line of bay leaf that you see in a lot of their wines. And it is kind of a regional thing for them, but it's in there as well. And I think I'm still trying to sort of wrap my head around it. But what I like about this is, well, you got that almost that chocolatey kind of mocha richness to it without being over the top. It's still got a bit of booze. It's probably about 14% alcohol, 14.5. Okay. But it can. There's enough fruit weight to carry it.
So is it 100% Cabernet?
100% Cabernet. Yeah.
That's good.
Again, this is the thing, and Cabernet. It's I probably talked about this before, but
what are you buying that for in a bottle shop?
$35.
It's a great barbecue one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why.
Crowd pleaser.
With steak, any kind of protein, particularly cow, that has any kind of intramuscular fat or, Scotch fillet, anything like that, where there's a bit of fattiness in there. As soon as you drink this with that kind of food, the tannins just disappear.
Yeah, right.
Like instantly. And you just see that fruit, that chocolatey richness, and it balances steak so well. I love Cabernet and steak that's the business.
See, I really like Cabernet and lamb or mutton.
Yeah, it can work. Yeah,
Mutton.
it's sort of in strong flavours. So.
And yeah, it's getting harder and harder to get mutton. People
It's like, where would you get mutton?
Yeah, you've got to ask your butcher because it's like people think it's a swear word where I really enjoy it.
Do you?
Yeah.
What do you do with it? Slow braise or?
No, exactly what I do with lamb.
Really?
Cutlets, yeah, it's yum. It's just I reckon it's just got better flavour than lamb. Don't get me wrong, lamb is delicious, but mutton, the difference between lamb and mutton's a tooth. Like it's not like it's fucking 25 years old.
No, it's like 6 months difference, right?
Yeah, if that, it can be a month, it can be
Yeah.
a day. When a tooth's cut.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be the farmer that feels that tooth and goes, I've just lost 25% of the value of that lamb.
Is that what it is?
That's a lot. Yeah,
Straight
it's
up.
cheap. Hoggit's even cheaper.
Well, that's two tooth. Oh no,
I don't know what.
More.
I don't know what
the classification is.
it's Hogget.
Someone will tell us.
Mate,
I'm
the Middle Eastern food's got a lot of mutton and hogget in it, and mate, I really enjoy it.
I think I've only really had it in a braise
Braised hogget is yum. Like you really get that.
flavour.
I wouldn't call it livery, but it's way more gamier.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I don't eat any lamb.
But if you get mutton and put tandoori on it, like get a half decent tandoori paste or make your own, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but it's fun.
Yep.
Yeah, and marinate it for a night in your fridge, and then put it on a screaming hot barbecue. Fuck, it's good.
Really?
Yes, and slice the lamb up and stick it in a salad with fresh rocket lettuce.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Really?
Not a braising cut. If you're going to do that, probably do a fillet or backstrap or even a boned out leg
or a leg or something. Yeah.
Yeah, something that you can get those packs in Coles. And
They're just deep
boned out leg. They're great for the barbecue, but try and get your butcher to get some mutton in and ask for a boned out.
I don't know if I would do that.
Try it. It's really yum, and it's much cheaper.
Is it?
Yeah. It's way cheaper than lamb.
I remember it's probably about 2 years ago now. My best mate sent me a photo of lamb chops. He's like, "This is the last lamb that we'll be eating in this house." It was like $48 a kilo or something. He's like, "Never again." It's like that was done. That was the day. That was the last day they had lamb in the house.
But I walked into it was Roz's place in Forest Glen.
Yep.
That right place, right time. There's like 2 trays of lamb that was short shelved. It was today's date.
Right, this is the day.
Mate, they were French trimmed. They were
the butcher,
perfectly round.
in the butcher or in the
supermarket.
in the
In
supermarket.
the
Yeah,
supermarket.
yeah.
They were all nicely thick cut. They were half price, and it was like they just got put down, and I went, "Thank you very much."
Yeah, take that.
Family came home
Just
and ate them. It felt like I was eating fucking white truffles from Albert because you normally
exactly. It's the thing. It's like you can't. That's not a Tuesday meal. It's like
there's a fantastic butcher on the coast that I won't name and shame, but they're very, very good. But French trim lamb cutlets are $77 a kilo.
So just to be clear, French trim is basically taking all of anything off the bone and basically, it's just purely, it's like a lollipop of lamb, right? It's just like the most
one
perfect
pink bone
thing.
and a nice little disc of meat.
$77 retail.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, I don't know. Who's buying that though? That's the other thing. It's like
Somebody must be.
I couldn't justify that. Simple as that. Because that's like $6 a chop. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, no thanks. I reckon it'll probably be more.
Yeah,
it's like, I'll have something else. Thank you.
Especially when you can go over and grab a piece of coral trout from them Willowbar Slipway for fucking half that.
Yeah, we're pretty spoiled for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm a bit of a lamb, but I reckon that'd go all right with that too.
Yeah. I think also it's like, for me, the more you say lamb, I'm thinking like lamb and rosemary pie.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. It's like old school, maybe something with the marrow coming out the top,
God, stop it.
Like a whole shank coming out of the pie. I saw that recently somewhere. That's it.
Yeah, I've seen a thing. I think it was one of those Ramsay.
I just sniffed the
Ramsay cooking
microphone.
shows. Did you?
I'm going to admit this. I fucking hope you would have got that. But I literally went like this.
You mark that so I don't.
Don't. I already
I'm
know.
going to earmark that.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. I just went like this and went,
How did it smell? I farted on that microphone.
Coffee mocha,
it was like Daisy.
a little bit of shit.
Love it.
I love that wine.
Yeah, it's pretty good, eh? $35
It
bucks.
is, it is
Fucking
grippy.
hell.
There's a bit, like, it's serious wine as well. And I think that's the thing. It's not the first wine of the night.
No.
You know what I mean? It could be, but, you know, sitting in here, you'd probably warm up with something else. But I do like this
what
wine. I
was
like where they're going with it.
What was that wine that
I gave Sean Evans. I can't remember what it was. I think he still hates me for it. It was pretty good. That was very good wine.
Cullen Diana Madeline, current vintage
No, it
in a
wasn't.
Magnum.
It wasn't. It might have been, actually. I can't remember. I'm just trying to think what it was. Basically, what Tony's referring to is several years ago, I gave someone, after they'd probably had enough wine at another event.
They're on a bender. They came in hot.
Came in hot, and I decided to give them
They needed a handbrake.
a very chewy Cabernet to slow them down a little bit. And, you know,
It
worked.
did.
It worked. So you're welcome. Sean, you're welcome. But
Hour and a half a bottle of wine.
yeah. But again, it's time and a place.
Yeah.
Like, this is not Tuesday afternoon and the medicinal.
No, that is a great wine to take to a barbecue.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly where
Yeah.
that should be.
It's
So,
a friendly, approachable, but
Yeah.
still, if you're a wine lover, it's going
There's
to
enough
get
there.
your attention.
yeah, I agree. So, delicious. Yummy.
Fantastic. Won't
All
be
right.
the last time I have that, that's for sure.
No, I think that was...
It's a good story about Voyager Estate, but and they're I don't know how common knowledge this is, so we'll tread carefully. But they're building a new lodge that
in the Northern Territory.
you know about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be the best in Australia.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to
There are
seeing
other
that.
ones a bit of a cracker too.
Yeah. She doesn't muck around.
Willow
Just
Creek
does not
oh my
muck
God.
around.
Have you seen that joint?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a-
David Rayner's working for them now.
Is he?
Shout out to Dave Rayner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good friends with him.
Is
He's
he
the
cooking?
culinary director
Oh, nice.
for the group.
Oh, haven't seen him for ages. That's
Great
why.
guy. Yeah.
So,
So keep your eye out for that. Voyager Estate doing great things.
yeah, absolutely. Big fan. Actually, it was nice to see the guys today, albeit briefly. But, yeah, there's definitely some exciting wines to come.
Great.
See a question from the audience.
I do have a question, and it's not related to the wine at all.
Great.
We were talking earlier, just for anyone, no one will be following this, but we were talking off camera about recent news events that have happened in the hospitality world over the past 2 weeks. And one of the articles that was mentioned was ecotourism and
Yep.
kind of hinterland lodging and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Is that something either of you guys would ever look at doing? Like, rather than opening, I don't want to downgrade it by saying just a restaurant, but opening an entire experience?
Something more. Interesting question. I mean, I've had the privilege of working, you know, with and for Spices for many years, who were, you know, from a Queensland point of view, were very much in that ecotourism space.
Top of the
and,
food chain.
and
isn't it?
do very, very well,
Sure
with
are.
particularly the, you know, the walks, you know, between Hidden Vale and Peak and the Scenic Rim Trail and those kind of things. So, look, I can certainly say firsthand it's been a worthwhile exercise for them. You know, a lot of investment though, huge amount of money that needs to go
Where
into
would
these
you
things.
start though? Like, where does it start? Like,
Find a spot. It's
yeah,
like
but,
anything else.
Yeah, you find a spot, then what? Like, okay,
Yeah.
we're going to do mountain biking.
Yep. Yeah. So for them in particular, and I can only speak about the stuff that I saw. I wasn't involved in it, but with Hidden Vale, that sort of that's now developed into such an incredible business because apart from the accommodation and the great restaurant that's there, you know, it's a big property to start with. Like, it was an ex cattle property. You know, they've now built a koala sanctuary there. There's a research station that the UQ is involved in, and then the trails got put in for mountain bikes. There's, I don't know how many kilometres of mountain bikes there, mountain bike riding, I should
Is
say.
this the one behind Ipswich?
Yeah, Maryvale. So
Yeah. Oh, I love that place.
And that place is, you know, again, it's an hour from Brisbane, but you feel like you're in a whole other world. So I think the proximity to something else is probably relatively important for me. I would also look at how you're getting people there, because one of the things that, you know, Queensland suffers from a wine tourism point of view is it's 3 hours to get to the region where you can, or 2.5 roughly, to get to the place where the wine is. Whereas like Victoria, you land in Melbourne, you've got 11 regions within half an hour of you, or close to it. You know, so that's the thing, we're sort of spoilt for choice. So yeah, that would be a thing. I think the other thing that works really well for those kind of properties that are away from other things is that they are remote, but that has its own challenges as well.
Yeah, right.
Like when I first started working with Spices, sort of 2012 or 11 or something around that time, we couldn't get wine delivered because people wouldn't drive up the driveway. They're like, nah, you got to come down and get it. So wine just gets dropped at the bottom. So it's 12 kilometres down the bottom of the hill. You just go down and get it. They put in there's a little house down there. They just put it in and you have to go and get it. But sometimes they'd put it there and you'd be waiting for 5 days. You're like, where's this delivery? They're like, oh, it's in the house. You're like, thanks for letting us know. And you go down there and there's 5 cartons of cooked wine down there. It's like, mint, thank you. So there is a lot of challenges that come from being remote.
Yeah, right.
Staff is really hard because you want people that obviously live on property. That comes with its own costs as well. So you've got to have accommodation for them, and meals and everything else is always included. So there's a lot of things to think about when you're going remote. I'd be making sure that I'm not too remote.
What about, let's say, somewhere like Spices is a good example, but I don't really want to dwell on them too much.
No.
But like, let's say you were going to go Mooloolah Valley.
Yeah, mate, I'm everything that Pete just said, and that is, what's the essence of the property? Is it ecotourism? Is there an event? Is it walking, motocross? Is it just a
Yoga,
hotel? Is it just a lodge?
Yeah.
You know, like there's a Gwengana type place that's for sale in the Gold Coast hinterland at the moment. It's a spectacular property. It's like a wellness.
It's a wellness retreat.
Oh, so yoga.
You go there and tap out for a week and turn off your phones and eat healthy and do all the things.
That's mega bucks. But I'm with you. Like, I've been fortunate enough to go to a lot of the Spices properties, and they're really absolutely stunningly beautiful, but they are really remote, and I often go, how the hell do you retain your staff here? Yeah. So you'd need to have a healthy balance of location, I think. And I think, you worked up in the hinterland here in Montville, and that's hard enough to get staff there.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Fucking 8 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Even piggyback for us in Palmwoods is difficult to get staff there.
Yeah.
And that's, it took me 10 minutes to get to work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's as an old hotelier at heart, I've always had this itch of doing some type of lodging of some description. But then I go, fuck, you think restaurants are hard work? Because one thing I look at up at Spices, if you have a medical emergency in the middle of the night, what happens? Because there's no manager on the property constantly, is there?
It depends on the property.
Right.
Peak there is.
Peak, yeah.
Peak there is.
Because there's nothing else.
There is. Or
Tamarind?
No. Tamarind, no. Clovelly, no. But that's the thing. I mean, every property is different, right? But I think, Corey, come back to your original question, is like, what is it first and foremost? Like, if you want to be mountain bike, be mountain bike. Like, get into whatever that is. Just be the best version of that you can possibly be. So it's also...
So build everything around that.
Correct.
So go, let's say...
What do you want to be famous for?
Yeah, exactly. So what I mean by that is, if I say I want to build a eco experience similar to Spices, and I want to be famous for mountain biking, do I start at mountain biking and put food and drink second?
No. They're all as equally as important as each other.
Yeah, I think you need to find the property that will support your mountain biking.
Yeah.
But you'll need to start somewhere.
Okay.
But I think that's the start, is like, because if it's not mountain biking, then and that's just one part. Like, ecotourism isn't just about active stuff as well.
And then you can't have an average mountain bike track and still expect to get $1,000 a night to stay there.
Yeah, well,
and you can't spend $1,000 a night to stay there and have a shit
track.
Yeah, or shit food or something.
Yeah, you'll sell it once and you'll never sell it again.
I remember when we stayed at Spices, the one with all the mountain bike trails.
Hidden Vale,
Hidden Vale. They got 500 above. It's the longest downhill descent mountain bike track in the Southern Hemisphere.
Wow.
It goes for like 15 minutes. It's
just going downhill.
Beautiful.
And
it is one of the most glorious things I've ever ridden in my life.
I like this. I like the idea of someone just taking me up to the top.
Yeah.
And just dumping me there and I'm just going down. I know that's probably against all of the mountain biking things. Like, no, it's about getting there. It's the journey. It's like, no, I just want to go downhill fast. I actually don't want to do that, though. I'm scared of it.
That's all of us were doing. We're all like just pushing it as hard as we could to try and beat each other.
On the way down?
On the way down.
Did you have to ride all the way up?
No, they got like a Can-Am.
Lift.
Perfect.
They got a Can-Am. And the best part is, all the bikes that they give you are e-bikes. So even if you do have to ride back, it'll take a long time, but it takes like no effort.
Oh, because they've got a motor.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
I was riding up like 20-degree hills like this and was like, oh yeah, I might smoke a durry.
Yeah, I feel like having a bunger on the e-bike is probably slightly counterintuitive. But I mean, again, I'm not a doctor. I don't want to tell you how to live.
No. I was only joking about the bunger, but I'm not joking about
how easy it was.
The e-bike. It's
cool as.
I think it's like, again, that ecotourism thing. I said, like, if it's a big property where people love that farm stay kind of thing as well, where it's like you go and see a working cattle station or a working whatever. I think that's something that people are still very much into. And when you got like kids, it's like that's awesome. But it's also they're not seeing the actual.
I remember, I think it was the last time I stayed at Spice's Peak, and it's such a spectacular property. But we've got our bean bags out. Melissa's on the sitting on the deck, and I've got my bean bag out, and I'm just laying down there, no shirt on. Sonny's just having a bit of a snooze, listening to a podcast. And they've got an activities manager there now because they've got Can-Ams and all different types of activities. And he came over and said, will you guys be partaking in damper this afternoon? They were making damper. I said, no. It's like, we've got a scenic walk we're going on. I'm like, no. Then he goes, we do have also a Can-Am ride. And I'm like, yeah, no. Then he went to go, and I said, mate, I'm really sorry to cut you off, and I really don't want to be rude, but if your activities doesn't involve sitting my fat ass in this beanbag, drinking a beer for the next 4 hours, the answer is no. So please, can you leave me alone? And he was like,
sure he would have.
Oh, noted. No problem. About 2 hours later, I said to him, I said, mate, how's the walking trail? He goes, nobody took me up on it. I'm like, it's fucking funny that.
But I think that's the thing is like, even in the situation where it doesn't matter what you are, and what you think you're going to be, there'll be people that don't want to do that, right?
Yeah, there's plenty of people there that did it too.
Oh, of course, yeah. But I think
just not me.
I think there's I think it's like ecotourism is such a broad sort of banner. It's like, what is it? What are we talking about? Is it like regenerative farming? Is it things that we can go and see that actually make sense, or is it just
what about if rather than having a dedicated place similar to Spices? Is there anything that you could do rather than, just let me think about how to word this. Rather than creating your own tourism exercises or activities, is there a way you could collaborate with your local tourism board to, I guess, become part of an attraction or part of a pit stop on an attraction?
Yeah, you probably, but that'd be fucking hard work because the more stakeholders are involved, the harder it is to sort of pull those things together.
Yeah, right.
And
everyone's going to have a different reason why they're doing it.
Correct, exactly right. And generally, smaller or large regions with small bodies that look after their marketing or whatever it might be, they tend to be. It's hard to organise those not those people. What am I trying to say? Basically, everyone has their own agenda, and often, it's like it's rare to find people that you are completely aligned with. Like you might get part of it, but to get completely aligned, that's why people don't go into business with others, in that kind of situation. But you could certainly, if you can get a couple of people that can, like, you got someone that is very good at this and someone's very good at that. Sure, can we do something together? Absolutely, but I'd be doing that way before. You think about where you're going to be. It's like find those business partners now, and then work out a plan of what's going to work together.
Your plan involves a very detailed what's in your section, what are you responsible for,
and a very detailed exit strategy.
And stay in your lane. That's what I'd say.
I like it.
Yeah, but mate, the sky's the limit. That I believe that type of stuff, especially in the Sunshine Coast, is going hard. And then mate, it's good. And look at Voyager Estate, get like more and more. The working cattle station, it's epic. I was lucky enough to go to Pudston Bay Caravan Park, which is right in the tip of Cape York Peninsula. It's the most northern pub in Australia. And Peppy, who we've had on the show, that's the only beer they pour.
Yeah, right.
Is your mates. So they invited us up when they shut the caravan park for the wet season. And mate, there would be 2,000 people there normally during peak season. For us to be the only human beings there, it was a very surreal experience.
Weird feeling, yeah.
But you walk around and the amazing hosts up there were like, this place is wall to wall from the second that the season opens to the second it closes.
Really, just campers and vans and everything.
Four-wheel drivers. It's that adventure market is on.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that adventure stuff. There's a lot of that. Sunshine Coast has got a bit of that as well, but
I feel like I don't know why, but in my head I see that as it's not trendy, but
Which one or which bit?
like the adventure division.
Yeah.
I find it too fleeting. Like it seems to change with whatever TV show's coming out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but
there
there's still
seems to be
there's other
seasons.
there's other ones like if you research hunting in New Zealand or Australia, game hunting, like in Australia, it'd be water buffalo, pigs, kangaroos. They're mainly the big game. New Zealand, that is a multi-billion-dollar
magazines and
and
everything.
that has been like that for years. So
That's tremendously different though, because that's a way of life. That's like hunting for food and water, whereas we're more like, let's get the kids in the caravan and go.
yeah,
But it's also let's get the kids in the caravan and go shoot some things.
Yeah, but you know, like the only way you can hunt in Australia is in private property, whereas New Zealand you're allowed to hunt public land.
yeah, right.
You can't hunt public land in Australia.
No, I'm pretty okay with that rule. I think that's
Well, like considering New Zealand is like 80% public land, like it's pretty good.
yeah, it'd be hard. And also, who's going to police that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
it's
parts of New
amazing.
Zealand you
pretty
can't
rugged,
get into.
yeah.
I know guys that this one guy Jeremy, fuck, he'd just go up into the hills in Marlborough and he'd be gone for 3 days.
Yeah,
He'd come back with a pig on his shoulder.
Well, I went rafting right up into the hills. Like it took so long from Queenstown.
Yeah,
And as we were coming down, they're saying that from this point on, there's no road. Like you can't drive up there.
yeah.
And there's hunters that we seen them walking through the bush with pigs just draped over
Yeah.
their shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. And the guide was saying these guys have probably been out here for 4 or 5
yeah,
days.
yeah. Because and that's just
Bow hunters.
Yeah. Oh, they're bow. Yeah. I think Jeremy would just take a knife. He was ludicrous. He'd
What
take
Rambo.
3 dogs and a knife and be like, see you in a few days.
First
That
blood.
would be cool.
Mate, one of the fittest dudes I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's cool.
The
Yeah,
weapon.
well, there's that. Like, if we had some sort of culture around hunting and eating around that, because did you see Emmersfield? Took out one of the best restaurants in the world.
Yeah, it always
Great
does.
restaurant.
It's like it's.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, the
Okay.
experience is.
Well,
yeah.
the way they were going about it in the news,
I
is
think
if
it went
was-
up in the top 50. I can't remember. It was very good
because
for them.
the head chef, what's his name, Vaughn, something. He's like a big avid hunter,
Yeah,
isn't he?
Well, a lot of Kiwis that I know are, but again, I think there's a big difference. People and hunting in this country, because it's not part of our sort of DNA, I suppose, is that there's a big difference between sport hunting, like killing shit for the sake of killing shit, and eating it.
Yeah.
You know,
And there's a big business in Australia just protecting the farmers, like
Yeah.
the vermin
yeah, absolutely.
eradication, because mate, those poor bastards, what they've got to deal with out the bush
Yeah.
between
So
rabbits,
many good
between
YouTube
kangaroos. Fuck, me too. Oh,
Oh,
God.
I love 'em.
There's some guys from the coast, Venture Ops, I don't know whether you've seen that too. They take a cooking element to it, so it's four-wheel
Yeah.
drive camping,
Yeah,
hunting,
yeah, and then
and
cooking.
Like they'll set a fire and hang a tomahawk and a pineapple for fucking 4 hours. And they're from the coast. I think they've got a marketing business. Somebody's talking to me about it the other day. I'm like, I've seen their videos online. They're fucking so good.
Yeah, right.
They go way out the
Way
bush.
out, yeah.
Like they load up 2 trailers with
would be-
so much shit.
Because that to me, it's just like I just don't want to do that. I have
do.
zero. I will, but that said, I'll watch Meat Eater every single
Yeah.
episode.
This is another thing. Like, I get lost in some of those people's personalities rather than what they're doing. I love Stephen Ranella's reflective narration,
Yeah.
the way he relives things
Yeah.
in his mind in hindsight, the way he speaks about it.
Yeah,
I really love his way of storytelling.
yeah. I like the way he gets stuff out of people as well.
Yeah.
And then again, they do the cooking side of it, and the cooking's pretty rustic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's pretty fun.
it
Well,
makes
it's real.
it makes me want to pull out.
Your Gerber.
It's in my pocket somewhere.
Oh no, I was going to say you've got it somewhere.
Yeah, it's and like you know how he always like eating,
Yeah.
taking like
A taste of something.
meat
Yeah.
off the grill. It's like,
Yeah.
man, this is good.
Yeah. It's just the stuff that I get a bit of is like when he just starts eating like heart,
Yeah.
like straight out of the animal. I'm like, yeah, that's not for me.
I don't need to do
But
that.
there's that as well. But it's just a different lifestyle. I
Yeah.
think it's like, I play golf. Most
Yeah.
people don't. So it's like they just go, I don't get it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I have no issues with anyone hunting if they're doing it not for sport. I don't think sport hunting is a good idea. It's just a personal thing. But if it's for meat and or for vermin eradication, that kind of stuff, it's like go for it. No problems at all. That's my just in case anyone needs to know my stance on hunting. I don't know why I fucking felt like I needed to tell everyone that, but that's what it is.
Go on.
But yeah, there could be something in that.
Honestly,
there's I watched a Louis Theroux episode years ago. He went to a game park in South Africa where they breed to shoot.
Yeah,
a lot of those fence parks.
Yeah,
high fence.
Yeah, I think, but their whole thing was they're like, we're part of the conservation of these animals. We just put a couple over here, the rest of them we keep. And
then
every
animal would never be alive if they didn't have the business.
One in XYZ. And the breeding programs they have is better than a lot of the government ones.
I'm a mad hunter. I love it. I love sporting, shooting, but I just like some of that shit, like shooting a fucking elephant. Like you should be eradicated yourself.
That's not okay.
Yeah, or a lion. But you see some of the big game in Australia that just decimate the farming country up here, and that's just
kangaroos.
Mate, they're fucking
kangaroos. Even in wine regions, kangaroos can be a real problem. They eat roots. They fucking.
And every time you shoot them, you go to harvest the meat, but they're covered in worms.
Parasites.
Yeah, they're just or everything. Yeah. No,
mate, the worms in them.
The worms. You hack them open, you can see them.
Yeah.
I've
dropped a wild boar once. We used to sell the boar meat to a German butcher in town. And we field dressed it, and the amount of worms that were in it, I've struggled for years eating boar meat after that.
Yeah,
kangaroos are really bad with it as well.
Yeah, right.
Heaps of parasites, heaps of tapeworms, and
wow.
You start pulling a worm out, next minute it's a meat along.
Yeah, this is not where I thought this conversation was going.
Well, it sounds like a pretty interesting question. Maybe we could ask the viewers if they had any crazy ideas for some sort of eco food related business idea, something out there that would be, something a little bit different, something a little bit out of the norm.
And we'll just tell everyone publicly and claim their idea, and then
the lodges, the golfing lodges have been a big thing for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Particularly
Cape
in
Kidnappers in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Jane Teresa's just started working there. JT, JT, one of the greatest chefs.
Justin Timberlake.
Jane Therese, she's a chef. Fantastic. She was at Qualia, Open Qualia.
Oh, I remember you mentioned her before.
Very good. I think she was Ramsey's first.
Okay.
One of, not Ramsey, Marco's first ever female head chef.
Yeah, right.
I don't know whether it's at Mirabelle
and where
or
is she?
something like that.
Kidnappers?
Well, she's working for that group.
That owns everything.
That's where she's stationed. I have to go there now.
I've just got to go. I want to play Tauri bad.
Yeah. But I like it's a beautiful property, great, amazing golf course, fantastic food, great wine in the middle of a wine region.
Yeah, where do you go wrong? And that's what I was saying before. It's like, and to what you were saying when it's like, how do you get other people involved? Just be fucking awesome at what you do in the region where there's other shit. Everyone will want to work with you. Yeah, simple as that. And that's where you start getting those collaboration things where it's like that you can win multiple levels. So and then you can get a little bit of buying power as well on certain things. So, particularly for marketing, I think it's a great way to share marketing costs as well. Right. So
100%. Well, it doesn't necessarily nowadays. You don't really have to share costs. It's just sharing across social platforms.
Depending on what you're doing. But I mean, there's still, if you...
To some extent.
If there's a small business that can't afford a marketing person.
Or maybe it's, paying the costs on any sort of physical collateral.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever it may be.
There's plenty of things you could do, but again, a lot of people do get quite protective, about their own little patch. But if you can, and particularly wine regions in particular, tend to be fairly
promote the region,
collaborative rather than competitive. And it's like when you can get that happening,
you're not going to go to a wine region and go to one vineyard. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to go and stay in the Barossa for fucking 5 days and just go to one vineyard.
No, I wouldn't think so.
So that's what I mean about it's where they get some muscle.
You're going to get benefits.
Let's promote the Barossa, and then everybody can take fair swing at it.
Yeah, and that's where those organisations like Barossa winemakers or whatever it might be. That's where they pay their fees to be part of that, and then they will promote the region in total. Yeah. That's what Shandy was just saying. They just did a thing, and Margaret River just did a thing in Sydney, which was a bit of it was a regional, like this is WA. And they haven't done something like that for ages. I think that stuff's great. And that was a trade event they did in Sydney. So anyway,
you're right.
Lots to think about.
Well, I think that might just about wrap it up.
I'm going to finish off this little cheeky glass of Penley Tolmer Cabernet. Yummy.
Lovely.
Fantastic.
Cool. else.
All right.
Answer, boys.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank-
fellas.
Good night.